Hey, welcome all. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe if you can subscribe. It'd be great. It'd be great if you can subscribe. Please leave comments. I do read comments. Sorry, I'm a little out of it today right now. Not feeling so great. But anyways, please do leave some comments on the comment section. I do read the comments. I try to answer them to the best of my abilities or respond to them to the best of my abilities. And you know, when I get notified, that is as well too. And if I hit a million users, I mean million subscribers, I will do a sort of dance trend at that moment in time that's popular, live streaming it. If it's 10 million, a poll choice of like the location basically where I should do it. Like if someone, if there's a huge poll saying doing it in the White House in the Oval Office, I'll try to do it. I'll do it. Um, anyways, for those that don't know, I'm a guy that doesn't like to dance. I don't dance. So even at my wedding, I didn't really dance. Anyways, in that situation, that's a different story. But for the talk here now is basically MLS or Major League Soccer. I've been watching the Premier League for a while now. I mean, I've been watching it for a bit here and there in the past. Of course, the World Cup, garnered my interest again, re-garnered my interest again. But I've always watched. It's just a question of like how to watch the Premier League. It was very hard. At the time, the only way to watch it was through Bein Sports, through Fubo TV and such. And Bein Sports was mostly South American, um, South American, football. Um, but the thing is like at least NBC and Peacock is streaming a lot of essentially um, Premier League and the Premier League. There was an interesting documentary. It was on I think the Smithsonian Channel or Nat Geo, and BBC America. I think I did at one point as well too. The rise of the Premier League, and it was pretty interesting. The first four episodes that I saw, it was pretty interesting, quite honestly. And it was like, okay, it's surprising, like just what it was to what it is now. It's really amazing, and like the fact is, like as a player, you are able to garner a lot of money as a result of it. And I think now in the Middle East, specifically Dubai or in Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia and Qatar maybe as well too. Like, I think they're trying to like post up a thing where like they want soccer or football to become popular there too. Like to the point of like they'll create a league of their own over there. I mean, the league down there is not, the league over in the Middle East is not that great. But then again, it's the same thing here in MLS, the United States. MLS, the level of competition isn't as great as let's say the Premier League or even the European League, the European Cup, the European Championship League. Um, but we can get there. But the thing is, I think it's a matter of popularity when it comes down to it. Like, how popular can you get the sport? I mean, quite honestly, it's a question of like, can we pay for players basically? Because like, you know what, a lot of the European leagues basically are getting European players, but they're also getting some American players, but a lot of South American players. Quite honestly, the U.S. should have the ability to do it, just like we do in baseball and basketball and football for that matter as well too, but mostly baseball and basketball, um, and at hockey as well too with hockey, but that's Eastern Europe more than anything else. Um, Baseball and basketball, like they do go to Latin American countries or Asian countries, and they grab them and basically, if they do well, put them into their system, and go from there. So like MLS, it seems like they basically try to recruit players past their prime, like Beckham when he came to the Stars. It was great for a while there, but in reality, it wasn't great. To the point of like what you saw Beckham was when he was younger. It's the same thing with Neymar, basically. Like, hey, can you get a Neymar at an early age, or Mbappe for that matter? If you can recruit an Mbappe to the U.S. For MLS, pay him what he's due. I mean, you might see a little bit of popularity. A lot of people coming to the U.S. at that point, MLS, and like watching U.S. MLS games. It'd be great if some network would actually stream or at least show the games. It's very hard to like watch some of the games. I mean, I think they show it on ESPN and FS1 every now and then, but it'd be great if like there'd be some network or even a streaming aspect of it showing MLS games. I think I might review Fubo TV later on and see if they actually do that one point or another. I think the other factor is, of course, too, is with MLS. It does compete with the other sports as well too. Like you've got baseball during the summer, and football around late fall, and basketball as well too. So like with MLS, they have to compete with all that stuff. So it's a question of how do you get MLS to gain that popularity, or to gain enough momentum and that to gain the popularity like the way the NFL did, as well as Major League Baseball, as well as the NBA and such. You need the players, but you need the marketing to bring them up there basically, and you need the, in this case I would say, the public broadcast, over the air broadcasting rights to show them basically what CBS, NBC, ABC, Fox, or local affiliate channels to show them basically. If they can do that, I think then you will see a little bit more popularity as a result of it. The thing is, it's hard to work a networking deal in that situation, and it's one of those things. It's kind of surprising. But for me, I am a New York City Football Club fan. I've been one for a while. I mean, initially when it was in New York, it was just the Red Bulls, and I wasn't a huge Red Bulls fan, honestly. The Red Bulls Football Club was, New York, New Jersey, which they were there, and I was like, it was sponsored by Red Bull. I'm like, it's just like the Red Bull and F1 Formula One basically. And I'm like, and then of course the New York City Football Club, they actually won the series, the championship last year or 2 years ago. I can't remember exactly. Well, mind you, I don't always fact check, so sometimes I'll go by pure memory, and if I do fact check, I'll like look it up, and you'll see me looking it up while I'm doing it at that point. But quite honestly, I think MLS can gain a lot of popularity as a result, or in this case, soccer can become popular to the point like eventually, 15 years down the line, we might have U.S. players that have the potential to win the World Cup if we develop players here in the States. Because nowadays, a lot of players or kids are going to either baseball, football, basketball, and depending where, sometimes hockey, like in the northeastern states, northern states, or mid northern states, basically, where they'll just focus on hockey, or or tennis for that matter too, and golf. MLS, I mean, I think it has the potential to grow. Definitely has the potential to grow. It's just a matter of like getting that momentum in place. Because like one thing, it's a matter of sorry, it's a matter of getting those players to become not players, but it's a matter of getting players basically to the point like you have to create a system. I mean, right now, yeah, kids, with infants and toddlers and such, you have them going to soccer practices. Like that's where the soccer moms come in. But after like they get into middle school or grade school, late stage of grade school or middle school, they like say, okay, I don't want to play soccer anymore. I want to focus on baseball or some other sport at that point. So that's one of the things where I would love to see basically like a more of a sort of program to help kids basically grow up into loving soccer, and wanting to progress further into soccer by joining like going into high school and having soccer league matches in high school, and then hopefully with colleges, where colleges could offer those scholarships. I mean, some colleges do offer scholarships for soccer, but not as many. Usually they'll offer for mostly for lacrosse, but like soccer does make sense. And like if you can offer like soccer scholarships, and in college, if they can actually show in college, college soccer championships, it might do some, might promote them up a little bit as well too. Now, granted, like football is one thing where you have to go to college. You can't go out of high school to go into the NFL. Whereas the NBA, MLB, even hockey for that matter, you can get drafted right out of high school. And that's the thing, soccer, MLS does. I mean, I think at one point, I think there was a case of Washington, the team for Washington D.C. at the time. They paid a kid that was 16 out of in high school, like close to $2 million, which was really surprising. But he was supposed to have this really good skill sets, but he turned out to be a bust in a ways. But at the same time, it garnered enough traction, or enough news at least for that matter, to gain some people to go into it at that point, and start moving into MLS, Major League Soccer for that matter, like going into the Premier League or European League basically. But I think now with the advent of esports, it changes it a little bit because why would you have to do anything physical when you could just sit there and play video games and get paid massive amounts of money basically, and that's the one thing that's really surprising. Like people are getting a lot more money by playing video games versus soccer. Quite honestly, I think if we the colleges could help out in the same, like I said, at the same time by offering good soccer scholarships, it would be very helpful. Quite honestly, I think you would see a lot more people basically going towards the soccer route then at that point, because you're not going to be a football star, you're not going to be a baseball star, you're not going to be an basketball star. So why not just go into soccer, and you'll see a lot of people in high school playing high school soccer, but like they're playing it for kicks, and some of them are playing to the point where like, hey, you know what, if I do really well, I think now they're saying like if they play really well, they can get out of high school and they can make a ton of money in a foreign country, in a foreign league basically. MLS getting to that point won't be a while. It might take a bit for that to happen, basically, until they get promotional deals, sponsorships, and all that stuff. I think it's going to be a little while before you see MLS players being paid an exorbitant amount of money, specifically out of high school or even out of college for that matter. But with that, if you think MLS has no stay in the states, like we shouldn't even have an MLS team, there shouldn't be a soccer team or anything like that. We should just basically get rid of it, or to like, hey, look, there's maybe there are other ways to get MLS to become more popular, or two, I might be wrong, and MLS is gaining the popularity it needs. I mean, after this World Cup that would happen this year, MLS might become more and more popular the next year. Um, if you think that's the case, leave me a comment, or yeah, just leave me a comment basically on that, and tell me your thoughts about it. Basically, I'd love to hear you guys what you think about it. With that, I'll leave you with my catchphrase, basically, or my ending catchphrase: unfiltered, unedited, and unrehearsed. Until next time.